Hey, we're back with another reading from To Be African. It's a really short passage on To Be an African Artist by Tom Feelings. And this is a really cool name, but a very long name, and I might butcher this. I'm going to practice. Wait. Seitu, Ankhmaa, Meneb, Shemsakhu, Amenwashu. I think I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, please forgive me. It's a very long name. Very cool name, too. The teachers told us quietly that the way of experts had become a tricky way. They told us it would always be fatal to our arts to misuse the skills we have learned. The skills themselves were mere light shells, needing to be filled out with substance coming from our souls. They warned us never to turn these skills to the service of things separate from the way. This would be the most difficult thing, for we would learn. They told us that no fundi are teachers. Fundi is a Kai Swahili word for someone who comes from the community but has a special gift that is developed and made available to everyone in the community. That no fundi could work effectively when torn away from power, and yet power in these times lived far, immeasurably far from the way. This distance from the seats of power to the way, this distance now separating our way from power, usurped against our people and our way, this distance would be the measure of the fundi's pain. They told us there was no life sweeter than that of the fundi in the bosom of his people if his people knew their way. But the life of a fundi whose people have lost their way is pain. All the excellence of such a fundi's craft is turned to trash. His skills are useless in the face of his people's destruction, and it is as easy as slipping on a river stone to see his craftsmanship actually turned like a weapon against his people. Our way, the way, is not a random path. Our way begins from coherent understanding. It is a way that aims at preserving knowledge of who we are, knowledge of the best ways we have found to relate to each other, do I know how to read? Found to relate each to all, ourselves to other peoples, all of our surroundings. If our individual selves have a worthwhile aim, that aim should be a purpose inseparable from the way. Our way is reciprocity. The way is wholeness. I.e., okay, I'm going to spell this out actually. A-Y-I is the first name. K-W-E-I is the middle. A-R-M-A-H is the last. From 2000 Seasons. When I'm asked what kind of work I do, I answer I am an illustrator, a storyteller in picture form, who tries to reflect and interpret life as I see it. When I am asked who I am, I say I am an African who was born in America. Both answers connect me specifically with my past and present, for I believe I bring my work a quality which is rooted in the culture of Africa and expanded by the experience of being Black in America. Tom Feelings. Illustration is my form, the Black experience, my story, and my content. In the all-white world of children's books and African American children's literature. I like that. To be an African artist is to be a conduit through which our African ancestors express themselves. The talent that we possess does not belong to us. It was passed down to us from our ancestors. Pause. In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, she talks about this, in this Search of Our Mother's Gardens, this creativity, right? Hold up. And she talks about, okay. Wait. I'm like okay. It's the chapter that is in Search of Our Mother's Gardens. Hold up. Okay, wait. I like this part. Therefore, we must fearlessly. Okay, wait. Black women. We're at 5 minutes. It's okay. Black women are called in the folklore that is aptly identifies one's status in society the mules of the world, because we have been handed the burden that everyone else refused to carry. We have been called matriarchs, superwomen, and mean and evil bitches, not to mention castrators and Sapphire's mama. When we have pleaded for understanding, our character had been distorted. When we have asked for simple caring, we have been handed empty inspirational appellations, then stuck in the farthest corner. When we have asked for love, we have been given children. In short, our plainer gifts, our labors of fidelity and love have been knocked down our throats. To be an artist and a black woman every day lowers our status in many respects rather than raises it, and yet artists will be. Therefore, we must fearlessly pull out of ourselves and look at and identify with our lives the living creativity some of our great-grandmothers were not allowed to know. I stress some of them because it is well known that the majority of our great-grandmothers knew, even without knowing it, the reality of their spirituality, even if they didn't recognize it beyond what happened in the singing at church, and they never had any intention of giving it up. There's this part. Then I went in search of the secret of what has fed that muzzled and often mutilated but vibrant creative spirit that black women have inherited and that pops out in the wild and unlikely places of this day. Okay. Inherited, I like that. It was passed down from our ancestors. They who can best express what our ancestors gave us have the most responsibility to pass this message on to the living and to the unborn so that it can live forever. The spiritual connectedness with our ancestors requires us to be good listeners to the lessons they teach, to observe the world around us, and to articulate the essence of their message. Creating art is a ritual that is designed to connect the African artist to a higher force. This vital force, the creator, gives us the power and ability to work with and interpret the messages that we receive from the ancestors. These messages come in the form of patterns, rhythms, ciphers, symbols, shapes, and many colors. The duty of the African artist is to organize and articulate these ancestral messages in his or her painting, writing, and music. We believe that the black writer and artist must awaken, especially in his or her black viewers, a sense of awe, wonder, and participation in the beautiful mystery of black life and its struggle to survive, for pain and struggle for us are unavoidable conditions and constant companions. But there is something that helps us deal with both sides of the coin of all human experience, sorrow and joy. There is a definite bittersweet duality going on in the best of black work, a mutuality of consciousness for these two major elements of our lives. Joy and sorrow never exist side by side, never just exist side by side on a flat surface. They interact with each other and build on each other. The sorrow and pain of the black experience have always been tempered by the strength of black people, and our joy has been tempered by the pain. Always surrounded by restrictions and limitations in terms of form, we are hostages to hope. We improvise in spite of those restrictions, sometimes transcending the form itself, making it new. We celebrate life. We can take the pain. We have endured it. We don't want our experience just stated or told to us in a flat way, or even our sorrow. It must move us. It must move for us, up and down like the blues, flowing, flying, flourishing like jazz. It must pulsate for us like a deep, heavy heartbeat, or glow with the uplifting, luminous energy of our spirituals. Whatever it is, it must always sing for us. Through creative expression, the African artist attempts to express his or her growth as well as his or her people's being and becoming. He is an educator who pushes forward the collective cultural, philosophical, and political ideology of our ancestors, which is Pan-African nationalism. Finally, African artists articulate the message of the ancestors with an African motif and tell the story of stories, the greatness of African people, in order to resurrect the truth we once had in ourselves in our own image. big purr. To Be African. I got this book from, I think, Sankofa, but it's distributed at africanworldbooks.com. And then we have a couple last ones. Oops. Yeah. The next one is To Be an African Father. That'll be exciting. But I just want to do like one at a time for this last couple ones. But we're almost done with this, so. And then we got more books to read, y'all. We have so many books to read. Anyways, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. Bye, y'all.